Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, where you will find interesting guests and discussions about cutting-edge topics to assist you on your journey. The Quantum Guide Show is ideally suited to the newly awakened and for those who feel isolated by their newfound beliefs. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change that we wish to see in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels, and share this show with your friends. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. This is episode 86, and I'm Karen Holton, and I'm all by myself today, but I've got a really interesting bit of information from you that's taken from the Quantum Health Transformation Program. This is an absolutely free program available on my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. The link will be in the description below. Please do check it out. It is an amazing program. It's 9 steps. Each step covers a different topic. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes what the different topics are in case you want to go directly to that which interests you the most. Last time when I was on the Quantum Guide Show all by myself, we covered step 6, part 1, and today we're going to cover step 6, part 2. And I will add below the link so that you can watch the other episodes that precede this episode, because we've already covered step 9, step 8, step 7, and as I mentioned, step 6, part 1. So I'm going to screen share and get on with the lesson, and I hope you enjoy it. It's basically internal detoxification. Many people don't even realize what they're eating isn't even real food, and our bodies don't know what to do with it because we just weren't biologically geared for it. People need to think about how we ate 100 years ago, and that would get us closer to a really healthy lifestyle. But it's all about detoxification. Why do you want to detoxify? I'll tell you why. Because you'll have less health issues, you'll thrive, you'll feel so much better, but also you'll be able to hold more frequency so that you can have contact with your higher self and other realms if that's what you want. And so I'm very excited to bring you another episode from the Quantum Health Transformation Program. So I'm just going to go to screen share and go directly to my PDF. There we have it. And as I explained on previous episodes of the Quantum Guide Show, each step is loosely associated with a chakra. And a lot of people don't realize that we actually have a chakra below our feet, and we have a chakra right above our heads. And so that actually expands it from 7 to 9 chakras. And each lesson will really, really help to open up those chakras so that you can get basically more what you want out of life. I think that's really the main point. So as I mentioned, we already covered step 9, black, introduction to the nubby ball, which is a tool. It's a tool that will help you. There's an image there with a hand holding up a nubby ball. And this diagram or image was actually created by Kat Price. And I just want to give her a shout out for that because she did such a great job of it. So the nubby ball is a conceptual tool that we can use to help expand our thinking and take us out of dichotomous thinking where it's black or white, up or down, good or bad, male or female. That's just getting old, and it doesn't really serve us anymore. The reality of it is there are so many options. It's like an infinite amount of nubs on a nubby ball. So you'll want to go back and check out step 9. Step 8, red, is grounding and the birth of new core belief systems. So once we've opened up our minds with step 9, now it's time to get familiar with many technologies that we might not even consider technologies that will really help us to ground and reevaluate our belief systems and throw out some that don't apply anymore and adopt some new ones. It's a very, very good lesson. Step 7, orange, developing new core belief systems and male-female integration with transgender identity. So I not only talk about how all of us carry male and female energy. In that lesson, I also explain the whole transgender issue in very simplistic terms for those of you that are finding it super confusing and not knowing what end is up in that regard. And also it helps us to integrate those male-female energies, just like we did in step 9 with our light and shadow integration. Now it's time for us to do that. And so the first 3 steps are really basically expanding your awareness, helping you to see things differently from different perspectives, and then you choose what serves you. And then now we're doing step 6, yellow, detoxify and the power of emotion. And I had to split this up into 3 different lessons because it's just so much information, as you will see. So please do go back and check out step 9, 8, 7, and step 6. Step 6, 5, and 4 are all about detoxification, detoxifying externally, internally, emotionally, and finally, how to detoxify from the construct so that we can be the free beings that we are. And it helps us to also recognize our amazing talents and, power, ultimately our incredible personal power to change our lives, actually engineer your lives so that they better suit what you want out of life. And then, of course, the top 3 lessons are step 3, 2, and 1. And this will help to elevate you so that you can hold more frequency and have some more of those amazing spiritual experiences that are really our birthright. All of us can have this. This is not just for a chosen few. All of us can have this. But we need to clean up our act. We need to expand our minds. We need to detoxify, and we need to thrive. And I think we'd all agree that's something that we all want. So this is step 6, yellow, detoxify and the power of emotion. This is from the primer. And this is part 2, internal detoxification. Now you can pick up a copy of this primer. And as you will see, there is basically no copyright on it. All I ask is that you give me credit for the work that I have done here, but please feel free to integrate it into your own program or parts of it, whatever suits you best. And so the PDF primer is available from my shop under the shop tab and then under the PDF tab. And you'll see there quantum health transformation and the primers. So I am charging $3.99 for each primer because it helps me to cover my expenses. So I don't charge you for this program at all. It's completely free and no strings attached. And all I ask is that if you want to use this material, do give me credit. But the other thing is there's at least 2 videos for each step, or in this case, there's at least 6 videos for step 6 because we're going to cover it in 3 different lessons: the external detoxification, the internal detoxification, and then the emotional detoxification. And you'll find that there are links embedded in this PDF. And if you purchase them, you can just use the links and they will help you to find the products and services that go along with the lesson. And no, I don't make any money from referring you to these sources. These are sources that I personally use, and I'm just giving them to you in case you don't have a source for these products already so that you can have a quick go-to, and they all ship. You can order online and they all ship directly to your door. And I wanted you to be able to access them if you choose to, or if you want to. So I've done this program a little bit backwards. You actually start with step 9, and then that builds the foundation for step 8, and that builds the foundation for step 7. And I recommend that you do step 1 last, but of course it's up to you. You can do it any way you want. And any way that you do it, it's going to help you to bypass some of your linear programming or brainwashing. So I consider all of this information, because I actually got it in a spiritual download, and I got it all at once. Boy, it almost blew my mind. It became an absolute obsession for a couple of years while I sorted it out, because it was given to me in highly abstract terms. And then my task was to downstep it into common everyday understanding, so that anybody, regardless of their income, their gender, their religious beliefs, their spiritual beliefs, pretty much anybody who can understand basic English can benefit from this program. And although it works extremely well for myself and for many other people, I want you to just take that which resonates with you. If there's a part that just your gut intuition says, nope, I'm not doing that, then don't do that. Because ultimately it's up to you to decide what is best for you. And I would never go against that. And as I mentioned, you can copy and share this program under the fair use clause, which means that you're not going to make any money off of it. You freely share it the way I've freely shared it. And in that way, many people can get these teachings, because they're so valuable, and they've never been more valuable than this time in history. So yes, please do give me credit. And besides that, just go for it. Use it any way that benefits you and the people you love. There's a picture, an image here of myself that was taken with a special camera that detected my aura. This was taken in about, I would say about 2005, 2006, something like that, maybe 2007. And my aura was shifting out of blue and into violet, which may or may not mean anything to you, but it certainly means a lot to me, because it means I'm holding those frequencies. At that point, I was already holding the frequencies that I needed for contact. Contact with who? Angels, extraterrestrials, my higher self. There's no end to the help. It's all there, and it's all accessible to every one of us. I have a disclaimer here, because things are in the legal realm are getting really weird, and with all the censorship. But I just want you to know that the disclaimer basically says that all the information presented in this program, either in this step or in this lesson or in the complete program, it's all presented as is for educational purposes only. And it's never meant to substitute for a diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a qualified licensed medical professional. So please don't construe anything I say as being expert or medical advice. No, this is from my experience. I'm sharing it with you. You do with it what you will. And none of my products or services have been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, or the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the CFIA, or the Department of Health Canada, or any other regulatory authority. And personally, I wouldn't want it to be, because as far as I'm concerned, they're so far out in left field. I would not want my work being part of this decaying and dying old system. So as I mentioned in the last two lessons, the last lesson, Sorry, there are three parts to detoxification. There's external detoxification. So last time we covered how your cleaning products, your personal care products might be inadvertently poisoning you and keeping you from the kind of health that you need so that you can function in this reality and do the things you want to do. Today, we're going to cover internal detoxification, which has a lot to do with what you've been eating. And then the next lesson, I'm not sure when that will be, when I don't have a guest handy or a guest can't make it last minute. That always, comes with the territory. So I want to be prepared and have information that, that you will find entertaining and also informative because, in this world, we need all the help we can get as far as I'm concerned. The next time, of course, will be the emotional detoxification and the power of emotion. All of your emotions are good, every single one of them. And they're there to tell you what's going on for yourself. And they're also there because they are frequencies. And all of those frequencies, once we can hold them, they help to elevate us on a spiritual level. So without any further ado, you'll notice the little image here has a big gummy, and it's got people in hazmat suits around it. And the one guy in the hazmat suit saying, "Sorry, bear." And the other guy in the hazmat suit is saying, "Yep, it's poison, all right." So part 2, internal detoxification. Now that you know how to stop poisoning yourself externally, it's time to stop poisoning yourself internally. Everything you put in your mouth is also absorbed into your physical system. Before introducing you to some healthful practices, I must warn you about the poisons you might be inadvertently ingesting. Now, those of you who are familiar with my guests and my material and my content, you know that I basically believe that there are many forces out there to bring us down, hold us back, keep us consuming, keep us unconscious. And food is another way that this is being done. So although maybe none of these things on their own would be, harmful, when they're done together, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. And the only ones that are benefiting are big business. And we've gotten to the point now where all the different food chains and, everywhere where we shop for whatever we want, it's all ultimately owned by just a few companies who want to move the wealth from the common people into their pockets. And I say nay to that. Let's resist. And here's a great way of resisting, just to be, in charge of our own body, our own realm, and to help improve the temple body so that we can hold more frequency and we can have more successful lives and communities, because that's important too. It's not just all about us. If you apply chemicals to your body, you will become sick and very likely obese. And the same is true if you ingest processed foods. You could develop fat tissue in order to isolate and deal with these food derivatives that are toxic to your body and your mind. So a little bit more about that. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. A little bit more about that. These different food derivatives, they're so highly refined that they no longer represent real food. And sometimes they're GMO'd and they're sprayed with all kinds of toxic chemicals. And so what happens is that we ingest them thinking, oh, this is delicious. And suddenly our body goes, what the heck is this? And it's toxic. And so the body will create and develop fat cells to isolate and keep away from our vital organs these toxic derivatives. And so this is your body trying to help you. But unfortunately, that's really also added to the obesity epidemic. And a lot of people are really struggling and not feeling well at all. And I know a lot about this because I had a very poor diet in the past, and I ended up weighing 320 pounds most of my adult life. That is a burden and a half. If you're a thin person or a relatively thin person and you want to know what it's like to be morbidly obese, just find somebody who weighs 200 pounds, piggyback them around the block and see how tired you are afterwards. And, we're expected to perform at work. We're expected to be there for our families. We're expected to do all kinds of things, just mundane tasks, from yard work to shopping to cleaning. Try doing that with 200 pounds extra on your body and see what your life is like. It's friggin' horrible. And I went through it, and thank God my spiritual guides woke me up and created, I guess they created the conditions, but also I created the conditions, because I'm the one who didn't know how to eat properly, and I had to wake up fast, and I did. And it wasn't fun. I lost a lot of weight in very, very little time, but it woke me up to how food directly affects us mentally, spiritually, and physically. So in contrast to that, real food grows naturally, and when it's organic and it's wild. So generally, it will not have a product label. Real food generally does not have a product label. Once these foods have been processed, though, they're dead, and although they may carry some nutritional elements, they upset our delicate physiological balance. And you'll learn more about this in the next step, which is the quantum health transformation, step 5. So yes, and I also want to put a heads up to the preppers out there. I think it's a great idea to prep, but if you're buying, freeze-dried foods or whatever that have a shelf life of 25 years, ask yourself why they have a shelf life of 25 years. It's because they're dead. They're completely dead. And so bugs won't eat it. Rats won't eat it. All kinds of critters won't eat it because they'll die if they do. And they just leave it alone. And that's actually how it works. So I want you to have the heads up about that, because it's really important. And there's lots of things you can still eat when you're a prepper. So suffice to say, each piece of, and I'm going to qualify this as organic, even though it doesn't say this here, organic fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds is a perfect prepackaged delivery system with the nutrients we need in order to enjoy health and sanity. I mean, anything is only as good as the products that make it up. So think about it. If you're eating horrible, toxic GMO foods regularly, or even not so regularly, what happens is you're just storing up all this toxic waste that's having a very negative effect on your health. So the reality of it is only real foods. I'll give you another example. A lot of people are eating way too many omega-6s, and they're getting them from seed oils, vegetable seed oils like canola, corn oil, or just vegetable oil without it even saying what it's taken from. These oils are so highly refined that by the time they get into the body, our body doesn't know what to do with them, and it completely upsets the balance of our body. Whereas if we are eating more omega-3s and we're, eating genuine, actual olive oils or avocado oils or coconut oils, you're going to be way better off, because your food goes, ooh, I know what to do with that once it gets into the body. So there's been a lot of research done on obesity. It's not like the powers that be don't know what contributes to obesity. It's more about including these toxic elements because they're highly addictive. And we'll get more into that in a minute. So obesity research is done in a lab on fat mice. And since mice are not normally fat, the extra body weight is induced by feeding them food-like products which contain MSG. So it's one of the #1 toxins that are found in most processed foods and a lot of restaurant foods too. It may say no MSG added, but that doesn't mean that the MSG isn't there as a core ingredient. So if you Google MSG obesity-induced mice, you can see the studies for yourself. Any synthetic additive used to preserve food and prolong shelf life is toxic. And the same is true about chemicals, which are isolated from their natural source. Do some research. And I urge you to watch the movie called Hungry for Change. I'm pretty sure you can find it for free on probably just Google it and see. It's called Hungry for Change. And it's from the same people who produce another show called Food Matters. And they've exposed all this toxicity that people are inadvertently consuming. It exposes the shocking secrets the diet, weight loss, and food industry don't want you to know about, and the deceptive strategies that are designed to keep you coming back for more. As I said, these foods are highly addictive, and they're so intense that our taste buds and our sensory organs sort of have to back down or be dummied just to be able to handle that much stimulation. And then normal food or real food or healthful food doesn't have the flavor that these processed foods do. So that's part of the addiction process. There's 3 other shows that are very good. I believe they're still available on Netflix, but just Google them. They should be very easy to find, and I highly recommend that you watch these documentaries. So there was Hungry for Change, Food Matters, and another one is called What's with Wheat, really exposing how wheat is put into everything and why it's so toxic. And then, of course, there's another show called That Sugar Film, and it will give you the breakdown of the sugar industry and what that's doing to people's health, not to mention all the people that are getting diabetes, type 1, type 2, insulin resistance. Just really causes so much harm within the body. And then what happens? Why would they do that? Well, the first thing is they would do it to get you addicted. But another reason is because cha-ching, cha-ching, now you're lining up for the pharmaceutical and the medical industries. Find out what's keeping you from having the body and health that you deserve and how to escape the diet trap forever. My personal experience proves the information found in the movie called Hungry for Change is true. Absolutely. As soon as I started eating real food and doing quite a bit of fasting and intermittent fasting, wow, I lost weight very, very quickly. I was so surprised, and I have gained a few pounds since I went through menopause, but I am nowhere near being morbidly obese. I don't even have to think about it anymore. I don't have to diet. I don't have to do anything to get the health that I deserve. Food-like products cause illness and obesity because they contain sugar, a drug that affects the brain like cocaine, and it's highly addictive. Food-like products also contain harmful fats like hydrogenated fats, cottonseed, canola, corn, and soy oils, and chemicals like MSG to keep you addicted so that you keep buying the products over and over again. It also causes us to overeat because we never feel full. Food-like products lack nutrition and cause cellular hunger. This leads to obesity and nutrient deficiency as people become overfed while starving to death at the same time. The obesity crisis is due to food-like products, which contain chemicals that lie to us. Real foods, by contrast, boost the immune system, increase longevity, and are our natural way of eating. What we eat, drink, and think has a direct effect on our health. So why do we eat food-like products? Because they are artificially created to smell better, taste better, and have a longer shelf life. This combination maximizes the profit for the producer, but causes decreased, I've got degreased here, I have to fix that, decreased energy, cognitive fog, anxiety, and illness for the consumer. To assess your own level of addiction to food-like products, I challenge you to try eating only unprocessed real foods for 1 week to see if you experience chemical or sweetener withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, the intensity of what you go through when you do that is a direct measure of how addicted you are. And don't feel bad if you are super addicted and you barely make it through a day. And the other thing too is if regular food, real food, organic food, get to the point where it just doesn't have the flavor that you're used to, or the kind of rush because it's affecting the addiction center of the brain, like cocaine, then ordinary food is going to taste pretty bland for a while. But what will happen is as you withdraw from your addiction, your taste buds, your saliva will produce the enzymes needed to break down the real food, and then it becomes absolutely delicious. So how do food-like products cause addiction? They contain chemical derivatives and refined isolated elements like sugar and other refined products, which become chemicals of addiction once they are digested. Everything processed from frozen ice to peanut butter is engineered to become addictive in order to maximize profits. Chemical derivatives like MSG and free glutamates enhance the flavor in 80% of all processed foods. Might even be higher since I put this information together. MSG and other chemical additives excite the brain and trigger the body to produce fat. And I've got click here and here and here to learn more. If you have the PDF and you click there, you will see that it'll take you directly to independent studies that have been done that prove what I'm saying is true. So in some ways, sugar's become public enemy number one. I know there's a lot of people that are into health coaching that say, oh no, eat sugar, it doesn't hurt you. But wow, it does. So sugar is also known as fructose, lactose, sucrose, glucose, maltose, galactose, sugar alcohols, which include mannitol, xylitol, lactitol, isomalt, maltitol, HSH. You won't know you're in too deep until it's too late. That's what the little image for this lesson says on this page. I'm just saying that for those of you who are watching the audio only podcast so that you don't miss out. But actually what you should do is come on over to Odyssey or YouTube or Telegram and actually watch the videos in the audio and visual. You'll get, I think, more out of it, but audio is better than nothing for sure. The truth about sugar and sweeteners: soda pop and sweets will chemically cause you to initially feel happy, but when the effect wears off, they will leave you feeling empty because your body was expecting nutrients. So you eat another candy or a piece of pie or drink another can of pop, and what initially satisfies soon needs repeating, and you're now being manipulated by a marketing ploy. When a beverage or food-like product contains the deadly combination of artificial sweetener and caffeine, it creates a very unique form of excitotoxin, which kills off brain cells, but gets them very excited first. You feel the effect of the brain excitement, but you're not aware of the brain cell death. Artificial sweetener is in almost everything processed that you consume, from frozen ice to meal replacement beverages. It is known to lead to cognitive problems, seizures, headaches, some cancers, weight gain, and carbohydrate cravings. These products are attractive because they are lower in calories, but this is a brilliant marketing ploy to keep you consuming. Wow, do I ever know that is true. You know, when I was morbidly obese, I followed every diet. I went to Weight Watchers and I went to Tops and I went to all different kinds of organizations, Overeaters Anonymous, everything to try to get a handle on my uncontrolled eating. But really what it was what I was eating, not how much I was eating. And of course, I was using all these diet products. I was falling for it, sugar-free and low fat and all of that. All that did was just get me bigger and bigger and bigger. Every time I lost weight, I'd put it all back on. And I was really diligent. I lost over 100 pounds 4 times in my life. 3 times I failed, and the 4th time I did not fail. So really, it's important that you take note of what I'm saying here. It's to benefit you, and it's not going to cost you anything to do this program. Food additives are engineered to addict you and for longer shelf life. The food companies realize that MSG, processed sugars, and artificial sweeteners are highly addictive. They learned this motto from the tobacco industry. If you addict a customer, you have product loyalty for life. Instead of nicotine, they use MSG, refined sugars like high fructose corn syrup, and artificial sweeteners that make us want it again and again and again. The cocaine-like effects of refined sugar and flour, which are food-like substances, kill more people than all drugs on earth combined. Science has produced over 75,000 synthetic chemicals since 1940. Know the nature of the trap. Watch the documentary called Hungry for Change. The image here says sugar is the new cigarettes. Sugar increases insulin. Insulin increases fat storage, and it's addictive. 93% of lab rats chose sugar water over cocaine. Now here I've got an extensive list, some of these things I can't even pronounce, of things that are called something different than MSG, but what they really are is MSG. And so you might think, oh, there's no MSG on the label, I'm doing fine. And I'll whip through a few of these just quickly, but please do come back and watch the video and read them for yourselves. You can stop the video and just take a good gander at all these products that are indeed MSG. There's glutamic acid, glutamate, monosodium glutamate, monopotassium glutamate, calcium glutamate, monoammonium glutamate, magnesium glutamate, natrium glutamate, yeast extract, anything with the word hydrolyzed in it, calcium caseinate, sodium caseinate, yeast food, yeast nutrient, autolyzed yeast, gelatin, that one surprised me, textured protein, soy protein concentrate, soy protein isolate, whey protein concentrate, whey protein isolate, anything with the word protein in it, vestin and aginomoto, and oh, I can't say that word, but you get the idea. You know, I used to make smoothies and put in whey protein concentrate and whey protein isolate, thinking, oh, this is a good way for me to get my protein. I had such bad headaches when I was doing that, and now I know why. Check out my website and find many valuable resources. There's the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation. This is a free, comprehensive online course. Learn about detoxification and nutrition, grounding and spiritual practices, and an advanced version of the Law of Attraction, giving you more of what you really want out of life. I also have my Zendomes Orgonite, which is my unique brand of orgone generators. They're ethically sourced and handmade by a friend of mine, and they're double charged for maximum effect. I also carry Comfort Crystals, which is a limited collection of energetically infused semi-precious stones. I have an array of vital services, so you can get the one-on-one support that you've been looking for. Also coaching, guidance, and I do assessments and also workshops. And then again, there are the many free resources available on my website. Wisdom to assist with energetic ascension into physical, mental, and spiritual paradise. Let us share our quantum work with you. It's your turn to heal, evolve, and thrive. Believe in your ability to succeed. Now, let's get back to the show. Now that you know how to stop poisoning yourself, let's get back to detoxification. Detoxifying means to remove harmful chemicals and toxins from the body. Since our physical environment and most of our food supply is toxic, I believe that detoxifying is a fundamental component to a healthy lifestyle and not just something that you do once in a while. I think your whole eating system needs to include elements of detoxification every single day. Detoxification not only rids the body of harmful substances, it also improves the function of the liver, kidneys, intestinal tract, and skin, all the elimination organs. It is an essential daily practice for people who are under stress, feel tired all the time, have low immunity to illness, allergies, headaches, dry, itchy skin, increased mucus production, and poor concentration. I wonder how much of what we consider to be signs of aging is actually caused by a lifetime buildup of toxins. Detoxification could easily be a part of everyone's healthy lifestyle. Let's face it, we live in a toxic world. Every day we are inundated with harmful chemicals in our diet, lifestyle, and environment around us, as well as our own metabolism and the pharmaceutical medications that we take. People consume food additives, colorings, flavorings, preservatives, waxes, and agrochemicals, which are fertilizers, growth enhancers, pesticide, and herbicide residues. According to the US EPA, 60% of all herbicides, 30% of all insecticides, and 90% of all fungicides cause cancer. Over 10,000 artificial chemicals are added to preserve food and give it longer shelf life. People are also exposed to atmospheric pollutants like chlorofluorocarbons, acid rain, industrial gases, exhaust fumes, and toxic metals like lead, aluminum, cadmium, and mercury. Detoxification is essential because it allows the body to naturally neutralize toxins and prepare them for elimination from the body through the liver, kidneys, bowels, lungs, and sweat glands. Although fasting has traditionally been part of detoxification, I do not recommend this or any quick, intense detox program. After a lifetime of toxic accumulation, one could become very ill-feeling as a result. Yeah, it's called a healing crisis, and it's no picnic. And it's the only way we can detoxify. So what I recommend if you're new to detoxification is to just use a milder everyday detoxification program and wait until you're feeling better and you've done, the majority of the detoxification process, and then you can try out fasting if you want to. Fasting is extremely good for you, but boy, it's really hard just to get through the day, never mind 3 days, 5 days to actually rejuvenate the body. But more about that later. All the toxic waste must be coaxed out of the tissues and circulate to the detoxifying organs before removal from the body. When a detox regimen is incorporated into a lifestyle permanently, the cleansing is less severe and continuous, allowing us to adjust and cope with any negative side effects. So now I'm going to get into the detoxification plan that I was using, and certain elements of it I'm still using today. But one of the best ways to start is with water. So first thing in the morning, I drink a liter or more of filtered water. If you add fruit or vegetables to the water, this increases the detoxifying effect and helps to alkalize your body. I'm going to say something about alkaline water here. A lot of people are putting baking soda in water and drinking it, or buying alkalized water thinking that it will alkalize the system. And it does not. What it does do is it eliminates or neutralizes the acid in the stomach, and then we can't digest our food properly, especially our proteins. And so what a lot of people don't realize is fruits and vegetables, especially the citrus fruits, when you put them into water and drink the water, now you're detoxifying, you're helping the acids in the stomach, but as soon as they pass through to the rest of your digestive system, they actually alkalize the body. I know it sounds very counterintuitive, but lemon and lime water, orange, grapefruit water will alkalize the body. It's the best way to do it, and it doesn't interfere with your digestion. I also consume some or all of the following foods, which will give you a good start to your detox program with minimal discomfort. So to pull toxins out of my system, I start every day with sea vegetables, commonly known as seaweeds. I do not find seaweed in the natural state appealing, so I buy it dried and ground up, and I add a heaping teaspoon of whichever type I can find. Usually, and at the time of this writing, it was kelp, dulse, bladderwrack, and or Irish moss, to about 1 cup of filtered water. I stir and let it sit for about 15 minutes so it gels slightly and it's no longer gritty. Then I drink it. It has a very mild flavor. Sushi seaweed sheets are usually not suitable as they have been cooked and they're no longer raw. And that would especially include, at Costco, you can get these huge packages of these little packages that have roasted seaweed in usually seed oil, which is not good for you, and way too much salt. And people are eating them thinking, oh, I'm getting the nutrients from sea vegetables, but not so much. There's not a lot of nutrition. And like I said, the seed oils and the intense amount of salt just overwhelms the system, knocks the whole sodium potassium ratio out, and causes all kinds of problems. Now, since I wrote this, and since the last 2-3 years, everything has gone crazy. And I'm finding it very difficult to find seaweed anymore, especially organic and clean seaweed. You don't want to buy your seaweeds from China unless they're certified organic. Even then, be suspicious. And so what I've had to do in the last 3 years is switch over to a product called fusoidin. And fusoidin is a derivative of seaweed, but it's just, they take the seaweed and they just dehydrate it, and then they turn it into a powder. And this is the active ingredient that actually helps you to remove heavy metals and other toxins from your system. Seaweeds contain iodine, which controls metabolism, alginate, which absorbs radioactive elements, heavy metals and free radicals, fusoidin, which causes certain types of rapid growing cancer cells to self-destruct, and are polysaccharides, which prevent and treat cardiovascular diseases. They also boost the immune system, help to decrease high blood sugar and cholesterol levels, improve the function of the gastrointestinal tract, and improve the structure of hair and nails. So I'm going to give you a link, I think it's on the next page or the one after, of where you can buy the fusoidin. And so that's what I've been using, because I'm unable to find the seaweed that I used to take. I wish I could find the seaweed, because that has everything in one package. But anyway, this is as best as I can get. Yes, here's the link right here. Order your seaweeds, chlorella, and spirulina from www.harmonicarts.ca. This is where I buy it from, and no, I'm not getting paid to promote them in any way. So I start off with, a glass of water. I stir in the fusoidin, which I can still get, let it dissolve, let it gel slightly, drink that down. Or I might just add it to a glass of water where I also add 1 teaspoon of spirulina and 1 teaspoon of chlorella. And I let this sit for about 15 minutes. I stir it again and then I drink it. It has a very mild, pleasant flavor. So here's some information about spirulina and chlorella that I found at www.detoxyourworld.com. What else was I going to say about? Oh yeah, these are blue-green algae. So technically, they're not animals, they're not minerals, they're not vegetables, they're not plants, they're just something else. And it is also interesting that the Pleiadians often recommend blue-green algae to people of Earth who are trying to raise their frequency. But it's just such wonderful, wonderful stuff. So chlorella is a green unicellular freshwater algae that is rich in protein, vitamins, including vitamin B12, minerals, especially iron, amino and nucleic acids. Chlorella algae have high chlorophyll content, which helps cleanse our blood and tissue, making it particularly useful for detoxification. Chlorella also contains an extremely strong concentration of alpha, beta, and gamma PPARs. This stands for, peroxisome proliferator activated receptors, which are known to regulate our metabolism, strengthen our immune system, and promote general all-round good health. The large quantities of DNA and RNA nucleic acids found in chlorella can actively help delay our body's aging process. Chlorella can be purchased in either tablet or powder form. The powder could be stirred into all your favorite smoothies, shakes, and green juices to provide a powerful boost of nutrients. By the way, blue-green algae are the oldest food source that have remained relatively unchanged for thousands and thousands of years. And like I said, they provide all kinds of things that our bodies really, really need. Spirulina is a blue-green unicellular freshwater algae packed with fiber, protein, vitamins, including vitamins A, B1, B2, B6, and K, essential minerals, including iron, calcium, and magnesium, trace minerals, essential fatty acids, and nucleic acids, both RNA and DNA, polysaccharides, and antioxidants. The Aztecs reputedly supplied spirulina to their warriors to increase strength and endurance, and it is perhaps best known for its potent immune-boosting properties. Spirulina also contains ingredients that help combat free radicals and prevent our cells from aging. Beta-carotene, vitamin E, gamma-linolic acid or GLA, and superoxide dismutase or SOD. It's low in calories and a complete source of protein. Spirulina has recently been linked to demonstrable weight loss. I take it every day, absolutely every day. It really makes a difference on how I feel during the day, my energy level, and of course, its detoxifying properties. Chlorella and spirulina are both unicellular freshwater algae, but here are some key differences. And this is why you want to take both every day. One is not superior over the other. They work together. So chlorella is a green algae, more of a green algae. It's still classed as a blue-green algae, but it's more of a green algae, which means that it typically boasts around 10 times more chlorophyll than spirulina and makes it better for detoxification purposes. Chlorella contains more iron than spirulina. Chlorella contains a special growth factor which can help repair damage to nerve tissue and is ideal for those with degenerative brain and nerve disorders. Chlorella features a true nucleus, unlike spirulina. Spirulina is a blue-green algae that is thousands of years older than chlorella. Spirulina contains more protein than chlorella. On average, spirulina contains 12 times more protein than beef. Spirulina is a better source of GLA, a good fat that is essential for healthy brain and heart function. Spirulina contains higher concentrations of phycocyanin, a phytochemical that can help prevent cancer and gives spirulina its special blue tint. And then there are chia seeds. Chia seeds don't have a flavor on their own, but they will take on the flavor of whatever you combine them with. Try eating 2 tablespoons of chia seeds every day. You always want to soak them in a liquid and let them plump out. You don't want to just eat them straight out of the package because they could swell up in your digestive system, and you don't really want to have that happen. Try eating 2 tablespoons of chia seeds every day. I add them to 12 ounces of almond milk and stir while they plump out. Then I let them sit for at least an hour to completely soften before I drink them up. They have no flavor, but they take on the flavor of whatever you add them to. Add them to chocolate milk and you have pudding. Now, I don't use sweeteners at all, any kind of sweetener, but I found that over time I got very much used to the taste of raw cocoa or raw cacao. It was very easy just to stir that in with my chia seeds and the almond milk that I was drinking at the time, and they will plump out. And it's just like having a nice, big, refreshing, satisfying pudding every day. These tiny superfood seeds are a great source of healthy omega-3 fats and fiber, and it's very easy to add them to your diet. Just add 2 tablespoons to a glass of juice, milk, or a smoothie. Stir regularly and allow it time to thicken before eating. The positive health effects from eating chia seeds include more energy, stable blood sugar, comfortable digestion, and lower cholesterol. And if you're someone who suffers from either diarrhea or constipation, eating 2 tablespoons of chia seeds every day will completely take care of that. Completely. No need for laxatives, no need for pharmaceuticals. By the way, you can also take some just organic fruit and chop it up and add chia seeds, add some water, and then it will become like the consistency of jam or some kind of a fruity dessert. You know, it's really easy to incorporate chia seeds into the diet. So I'm not going to read the details here. You can come back and watch this again if you would like the details, but basically there are 10 reasons to add chia seeds to your diet. They combat diabetes. They give you more fiber and the right kind of fiber that won't upset your digestive system. They are loaded with omega-3. They will give you stronger teeth and bones. They're a great source of manganese, and they have phosphorus. So they are absolutely packed with protein. One 28-gram serving of these super seeds has 4.4 grams of protein, which is nearly 10% of your daily value. They help you to fight belly fat, and they certainly help you to get full faster, so you're not left hungry and wanting. And they also improve your heart health. And I have put the source for this information in a link on this page in case you want to look it up. So another important part of detoxification is to maintain adequate gut flora. I can't stress this enough. I just can't stress this enough. So say you're someone who's a really healthy eater, but once a week you like to go to McDonald's and get a big greasy hamburger and some fries, or maybe you like to go to one of the other fast food places or pizza place, and you figure, well, I'm only doing it once a week and my diet's really healthy the rest of the time. You don't realize that those fast foods and the processed foods, all of them are meant to have a shelf life of 25 years. So what happens when they get into the gut? What happens when you ingest them? They stop your ability to digest your food. And because they have a 25-year shelf life, they quite literally can keep you from digesting your food for weeks. And so until you clear every aspect out of your body, because they often sit within your digestive system without you realizing it, even if you're having bowel movements, they're preventing you from digesting real food. And that is the danger of even doing it once in a while. So to help with that and with everything else, your gut flora, you need to improve your gut flora. Some people consider it like another brain. Your brain has brain tissue, your heart has brain tissue, your digestive system also has brain tissue. So it's really important to keep that healthy. Gut flora is a complex combination of microorganism species that live in the digestive tract of animals, including us. It gleans energy from the fermentation of undigested carbohydrates and absorption of short-chain fatty acids. Intestinal bacteria also play a role in synthesizing vitamin B and vitamin K, as well as metabolizing bile acids, sterols, drugs such as antibiotics, and pollutants. According to Wikipedia, the human body carries about 100 trillion microorganisms in its intestines, a number 10 times greater than the total number of human cells in the body. Between 300 and 1,000 different species live in the gut. However, about 99% of the bacteria come from about 30 or 40 species. Fungi, protozoa, and archaea also make up a part of the gut flora. Research suggests that the relationship between gut flora and healthy humans is a symbiotic relationship. We will die without our gut flora, and our gut flora will die without us. So what are you going to do about it? Well, my favorite is actually sauerkraut, but you can do it a number of ways, as I will mention in a few minutes. Gut bacteria aids in digestion, stimulating cell growth, repressing the growth of harmful microorganisms. It helps to train the immune system to respond only to pathogens and defends against some diseases. And gut flora helps prevent flatulence. So if you get a lot of gas when you eat, you need to boost your gut flora. Absolutely. Well, you probably should every day because it needs replenishing every couple of days. So I just kind of add it to whatever I'm eating for supper every night. And I've come to really, really enjoy the flavor. Gut flora helps the body to absorb essential dietary minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and iron. Gases and organic acids, such as lactic acid, are also produced by fermentation. Acetic acid is used by the muscle. Propionic acid helps the liver produce ATP, which gives you energy. And butyric acid provides energy to gut cells and may prevent cancer. Beneficial flora increase the gut's absorption of water, reduce counts of damaging bacteria, increase growth of the human gut cells, and stimulate growth of indigenous bacteria. It even prevents species that would harm the host by colonizing the gut through an activity termed as barrier effect. Harmful yeasts and bacteria species are unable to grow excessively due to the competition from helpful gut flora species adhering to the mucosal lining of the intestine. Thus, people with gut flora are people without gut flora are infected very easily. The process of fermentation, since it produces lactic acid and different fatty acids, also serves to lower the pH in the colon, preventing the proliferation of harmful species of bacteria and facilitating that of healthful species. This pH may also enhance the excretion of carcinogens. Gut flora may have a continuous and dynamic effect on the host's gut and systemic immune systems. So we don't often think about how our gut flora actually boosts our immunity, but it does. It's so important. And today, so many people are taking antibiotics and different kind of pharmaceuticals. Their gut flora, it just desperately needs replenishing. I can't stress this enough. And if you're not digesting your food, where are you going to get your nutrients from? Where are you going to get the building blocks that build up your eyesight and your bones and your muscles and give you energy just to have the kind of life that you want? So at the time of this writing, I was maintaining my gut flora by taking a product called New Roots Acidophilus Ultra. Probiotics play a major role in building the immune system. They keep your intestines clean. They combat candida yeast infections. They regulate constipation or diarrhea, and they increase the bioavailability of essential nutrients to form superior quality blood and overall health. And again, I am not being paid for any of these endorsements. These are just products to help get you started. You may want to use different brands or whatever. That's totally up to you. And of course, it often depends on your income level, because some of these good products are very expensive, but some of them are not expensive, like good old sauerkraut. You may wish to take probiotics, which are especially essential after antibiotic treatment. Probiotics replenish the immune, regulating intestinal flora that antibiotics destroy. New Roots Acidophilus Ultra combines 11 effective strains that are synergistic to each other and deliver benefits at different important sites along the intestinal tract. Acidophilus Ultra is well tolerated with lactose sensitivity and contains only 2 micrograms of lactose per capsule. You may also wish to eat live, raw sauerkraut. So it's not just sauerkraut that you want to buy. You want to look on the label to make sure that it's live and that it's raw. It is loaded with beneficial bacteria and probiotics to help replenish gut flora. It also provides many important enzymes needed for complete digestion. So a lot of people think, well, I eat yogurt. Well, I'll tell you, almost all the yogurt that's out there has been pasteurized, which means it's dead. And so many of them are loaded with sugar. You don't want to go down that route. So I would really, really recommend that you make friends with raw, live sauerkraut. Oh man, it makes you feel so good. So that's about it for the lesson today. The conclusion to Quantum Health Transformation, Step 6, Part 2. Now that you know how to stop poisoning yourself internally and you have all the information you need to detoxify your body, it's time to move on to Quantum Health Transformation, Step 6, yellow, Detoxify and the Power of Emotions Primer, Part 3, Emotional Detoxification and the Power of Emotion. A lot of people think, especially in the New Age movement, they think, oh, I can't, express my jealousy, my anger, my resentments, my grief, because they're going to pull me into a lower frequency. But actually, these are human emotions, and we can make them all work for us. One of the quickest ways of doing that is when you have negative emotions or uncomfortable emotions, is use them as a jumping off point to help propel you into higher emotions. There's many ways you can do this. So come back next time when I do part 3. And I think you'll really benefit. I think you'll really super benefit from the whole program. And I really hope you share it with other people, because otherwise, what's the point of doing it? I'm not doing it for virtue signaling. I'm doing it because I really care about you. I care about our communities. I care about the whole population of this planet. And I want us all to thrive, because when we thrive, we make better decisions. We love each other more. It's just an amazing way to go about doing life. So you can contact me if you need any assistance whatsoever. I have quite a few different services for the newly awakened, as well as people who've been awake for a long time, but sometimes we need a little support. So I would recommend that you check out my website. And I want you to know that I'm very grateful to all the forces and the beings that assist me with the production of this 9-step online course. It didn't originate from me. It was given to me in a spiritual download. And then I downstepped it into everyday, hopefully common English. And also, it's very non-binary. It doesn't adhere to any religion or philosophical ideology. I'm not a member of any group or church or anything like that. I'm just here doing my job, which is to downstep this energy. Now, if you want to help support my work, please consider purchasing some of my beautiful Zendomes orgone generators. Check them out on my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. I'm not making them anymore. My friends aren't making them anymore. So, when they're gone, they're gone. But in the meantime, there's still quite a bit of selection available. And of course, if you purchase the PDF of this lesson, that would also help me as well. And I also want to give a shout out to my brother, James Tracy, who made the very first Zendomes orgonite. They were collector items. They were limited. There was only one of each different kind, and they were just so beautiful. And of course, I sold them all, but he's the one who got me started, and I'm very, very grateful. And like I said, so next time we can move on to emotional detoxification and the power that our emotions give us. And here's the link on where you can find step 6 and the videos on my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com/videos/step-6/. And that's it for the lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your comments. You can post them below this video. And I hope you share this information with other people, because that's the whole point of me doing this. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for joining me again on the Quantum Guide Show. It's just such a pleasure for me to make these podcasts and make them available to you. You might be watching them through the Forbidden Knowledge News Network, which I am a member of. You may be watching them on my YouTube or my Odyssey channel, or even my Telegram channel, or even my Signal channel. I go by Karen Holton TV, so I'm pretty easy to find. It's pretty consistent across most platforms. And I just appreciate you so much for watching and listening to this podcast. I'm very happy to do this. Now, I want to mention that I'm actually going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks. So we will not have a show next week or the week after, but I will have a new episode of Aliens and Astrology with my co-host, Dave Petrella, coming out on Monday or Tuesday. So do take a look at that. And this is really going to be exciting, because I'm going to talk about my absolute, true, real life conscious experiences with shifting realities, how I moved from one reality to another using very simple techniques that I'm going to teach you at on the podcast, season 1, episode 3 of Aliens and Astrology. But anyway, for those of you who like my Quantum Guide Show, I appreciate you so much. Please like and share this video with your family and your friends. And I'll see you again in a couple of weeks for an all-new episode of the Quantum Guide Show. My guest is Rex Bear, and we're going to talk all about Leak Project and all the cool stuff he's doing. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm just going to say bye-bye for now. I wish you much love, and I hope you have the best week ever. And I'll see you next time on the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels. Like this video and share it with your friends. You can also find the Quantum Guide Show and my other podcast called Aliens and Astrology on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. That's www.forbiddenknowledge.news. And while you're at it, check out my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com, where you will find some amazing products and services and an abundance of free resources to help you with your journey. All of the links are in the description below. And in the meantime, until we see you next week, keep up the good work.
Splendor and endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion,